On today's episode of MotoCheez.
Look what came in. Wiring harness and oil lines, oil cooler, kickstarter, shifter, Zongshen 190cc in black. Thanks, Dave. I'll leave the information of where to get these. Dave is the guy. $700 delivered to your door. Let's get a good look at this puppy, huh? Of course, there's no oil in it. (15-tooth 420 chain. I believe that's for if you want the shift indicator to work. There's a few things right off the bat that people say you should do, but I don't think I'm going to do them right off the bat. I think I'm going to just take it stock the way it is, put it on there, and then see how it goes. One of them, there's a star gear on a shift drum in here, and they say downshift too far, it'll pop the little cam that lines up the shift drum, which keeps it in gear, out. Then you won't have any gears that'll stay in gear. There's a fix for it with 2 washers, and it's a pretty easy fix. So if it does happen, I'll do it after. Wow, is that a real filter they put on these now? The starter's on the bottom. Wow, it actually looks like it comes with an NGK plug. I've also heard that to use your stock head pipe and exhaust, you might have to bend it a little to put it on. I want to go totally blind, so whatever I come across, we'll find it together. Oil cooler, I'll figure out a way to install that somewhere. I may not do that immediately. They say that the clutch cable won't fit, the stock clutch cable. We'll see about that. Zongshen, I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's got an oil sight glass, along with, I'm sure, a dipstick. Yep. Pretty nice. I've also heard the starter chain isn't greased or oiled or something on this. Maybe I will pull that off just to see if it's greased, and I'll put some chain lube or grease on that. There is an upgrade for the starter chain too, but like I say, I think I'm going to bolt this on and see how it goes, and whatever problems we have, we'll see them together.
Did we just become best friends? Yup! Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup!
Let's see what it comes with for electronics. CDI, coil, starter solenoid, side cover, 5-speed transmission. That's gonna be nice. Intake with the bolts. Without the starter up there, gives you a little bit more room. It's got a spot for an injector if you want to drill it, of course. Oil cooler lines. Curious what carburetor they give here. So it's a PZ 28 millimeter. Yeah, 28 millimeter. Regulator for the charger. Banjo bolts for the oil cooling line. Pretty good size oil cooler. I've also heard about people swapping the entire stator and charging system, ignition, everything off of the old 125 motor and putting it in here because it'll fit. So while we're here, let's see what they're talking about. Don't rip this nice new gasket here. Make sure it's all separated before you lift this off, because that magnet holds pretty good. There's the stator for charging. That's your pickup coil for the ignition. That's your pulse for your timing for your ignition. Wow, there is no, it's just dry, huh? Guess I'll spray a little chain lube on there. It is dry. Of course, while this is running, this has a one-way clutch, so that chain doesn't spin. It only spins when you hit the starter. But a little lube never hurt. Not in this area. There. It's Spread a little bit of this oil around. Oh, that gasket doesn't line up very well, does it? I wonder if that's intentional, to have that little gap there. I don't think it's a good idea, because there's no gasket that runs across here. So when this chain is slinging, it could throw stuff in there, and it'll all collect down in here, water. The rest of it seals up pretty good. Well, that doesn't either. Well, I'm going to get a little bit of silicone, and I'm going to dab a few areas here. I typically don't watch other people's videos because I like going in blind and seeing this for myself, but I have had people make mention to different things. Probably is a good idea to oil that chain. There's a drain in the bottom, which I can understand that. That's wide open there too. Do not take this thing underwater. I think they could have done a better job on that for sure. I wonder if I fill that with silicone. Don't go underwater with this, or this is going to get soaked and end up eventually rusting. Put a little dab there. Put a little dab here. And I think when I put the case on, I'll put a little in the corner there. I guess when I do this, definitely should do that little corner. It does have a stop though. Seems to have a stop for first. I'll leave that for now. Let the build begin. Alright, let's take the negative off of here. Take these panels off. Should all come out in one chunk. That's the stator. Old clutch cable. Everybody says you need new clutch cable. We will see. Huh, that's a little loose. I'll just swing that out of the way for now. I mean, it's snug, but it's loose. My extra motor mount that I made up is holding up pretty damn good. So, pull this little guard off the swing arm so I can get a little bit of room to get that bolt out. Somebody mentioned putting a bolt in from the other end. That's a good idea. See how the new motor mounts bolt up. Wow, you can actually see the motor drop a little bit. Alright, so now that's out of the way. There's only one mount holding this. I'll reuse this solenoid. I'm get my kids to help me lift this thing out of here. I think all the wires are disconnected. Have them lift it and I could pop that bolt out. This one has a web that goes all the way up to that gasket and seals it. Zongshen. That's how you pronounce it, Zongshen. Thanks, Taco.
It's actually pronounced Johnson. Johnson, so more like a J as it becomes J. Johnson. 那个是 Johnson 发动机。That is a Johnson 发动机 or engine.
Just took a little wee bit of extra manipulation. Yeah, way better to take this side off and have the bolt go through this way. Wow. Lined right up and went right in.
That's what she said?
Alright, it's in there. Actually, it might be Loctite, huh? Well, that's close. That's very close for the kickstart and the spring here. Bend that out a little bit. That'll work. Kickstarter's not going to work though. Nope. No way is that going to work. That looks about right. I think the old one's the same. Not really. Yeah, the other one's a little tighter. I'll try it with the stock one. Get in there. They didn't give a wiring harness. No wiring harness. That is the ground. I went to the starter on the other motor. Looks like I'll be cutting the bottom of his guard off. Guarded anyway. I'll take a little off and see if I can fit it. Gotta go more. More. My God. It's hitting this thing? Alright, well. Well, looks like that's it. Jeebus crackers. I don't know about this vent tube either. It's so tight. Squeak it up in there. Got it on there. That's a pretty big hole. Let me see this nut loosened a little bit. Make sure that's snug. Don't let it spin because it'll rip the wire from the inside. Might be able to do it. It looks like this is going to have to get bent a little bit. We're talking maybe 3/4 of an inch. That might work. I gotta bend this up a little. So bend that out a little, bend this up a little. Might be easier. Might have to loosen them bolts and slide it a little bit if I get it close. Pretty close. I mean, I'll make it work, but I have to figure out an exhaust. I'd like to run one over the top, like this way, but I don't know if I can now. That should be pretty good. Yeah, you can get it to fit, but it's not right. I don't know. I guess I'll just wire that up for now, just to hold it. I'm gonna have to get another pipe. This will work temporarily. It's the best I can do for right now. It's not easy. Being cheesy.
Whoa!
Not easy at all. Gotta move the petcock. See that? That's gotta get cut off. Certainly does. I gotta chop that off the frame. And it should be pretty close. Damn. Hope it fits now. Oh yeah. Much better. Nice. It's actually perfect. And I can still get this off. I'll put it back here for now. As long as it's lower than the bowl, you're fine. There, it'll clean the chain off if it overflows. That's where the petcock is bolted. It's got a plunger like the Nibby carb. Don't forget to put that little plastic washer on this cable before you put it together. Pin is here, idle's on the other side. Made it all the way in. I got the stock clutch cable to work temporarily, but I took the knurled adjuster off to get that little bit extra. So there's really no adjustment here. I tightened them all the way as close as they could be. Then I moved this, I believe it was 2 teeth over. Yeah, it's not the way it's supposed to be, but it'll work until I get the proper cable. Right? Right. I gotta take that extra cable out of there. I'll never use that again. So now, if you have to adjust the clutch, you do it here. Until you get the right cable. I gotta search and see what cable is actually gonna fit. That'll work though. And get some oil. See if I have any regular 10W40. And then I can put the battery on. I think I'm ready to start this thing. Got me some 1040. Have no idea how much oil this takes. Of course, whatever this is, it's going to take a little bit more when you get the oil cooler. Alright, that is a little bit above. That's about 3/4 of the sight glass, which is usually full. Looks like we used, it's like 3/4 of a quart, 12 ounces out of 16, maybe 13. Well, turn the gas on. That neutral light works. I smell gas. No spark. Alright, so apparently this flywheel from that trigger point for the pulse, it's roughly 113 millimeters. On this motor, leave a gap. The triggers are in the same spot, but the flywheels are different. I don't even know if this flywheel can swap out. Kind of looks like it. Looks like it's the same crank. Alright, I got the old stator back in. I'm wiring this up to the stock wiring. I have, thanks Taco, I got a whole kit. Just making sure everything's going to work before I wire everything. Make sure we got spark. Oh yeah. So now, should fire up, huh? She runs. Now I gotta wire it. Alright, so there's a few things you gotta do. Since they don't give you a full wiring harness, because this will not work. I didn't want to swap the flywheel because that's got a lighter flywheel for whatever reason. I don't know if everything's the same. So it's easier just to wire this and crimp it all up. And it looked like it was charging because I saw the light go up when I revved it up a little bit. There's 3 there and 2 up top. The yellow, green, yellow. These 2. And then you have the trigger pulse and the trigger charge. I think the blue was off the pulse. The blue with white is the actual trigger pulse wire. And this is the actual ignition coil. I think I'll do the yellow ones first. That's one. So I'm going to kill this because my battery's dying on my phone. Yeah. Got some wiring to do if you're going to do this. Can't just change that stator. It's different flywheel. Time for a little test drive. There's the old motor, 125. Got new gloves. Not wearing them now. Still got to get an air filter also. Got to figure out what to do about the air filter. So yeah, you're going to have to do some wiring, and you're going to need a longer clutch cable. I did make that work, but to do it right. Well, let's see. Tack works the same, huh? Clutch plates. Oh yeah. Well, the gears are working. Oh yeah. I want to try to break it in a little bit, do a couple heat-cool cycles. Wish the tack worked. Definitely has some, not bad pull. Barely on the throttle. That's like maybe quarter throttle. Wow, yeah, there's a difference. That's wide open. And don't forget, I still have the stock exhaust on here. I could definitely see this thing doing 75. It's pretty smooth, the motor though. I didn't put the cooler yet, the oil cooler, but I'm going to put the oil cooler. Look at that, 4th gear pull. Like nothing. I can actually gain on this. Transmission's a little notchy. Hopefully it'll wear in as it breaks in. Absolutely effortless to do 50, 55 now. For the old motor, I was pushing it pretty good to get 55. Nice having 5 gears. Downshift now. Oh yeah. This would have been a perfect bike if it started out with this engine on it. I'll give you the link. I got this motor for $700 delivered to my door. And it only took about 2 weeks. The guy is from USA. I believe he gets container full. This one I think came straight from China. All I know is he's sold a lot of them. Someone said, get a hold of this guy, because I was looking at 190s and he wanted like $1,000, $1,100. Now the shifter on this seems to be working okay. I guess if you jam first gear hard, it'll ride over to the little spring that holds the shift drum. What the heck is this guy doing? But the carburetor actually with this exhaust seems like it's actually pretty right on. It's pretty amazing. Man, oh man. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. It's like a supercharged 125cc. Gearbox is a little notchy. I hope that goes away. I started this job at 10 o'clock. And it's 2 o'clock now, but I definitely stopped for at least 2 hours in between to get something to eat. So I'd say like 3 hours to 4 hours. Gotta adjust the clutch already. And my idle. Wonder what I'll get for mileage now too. Whitey's on steroids. It's a HELLCOUGAR. Would have been nice if I could have got some kind of extension Heidi kickstart somewhere, but yeah. I gotta adjust this clutch. It works. Whitey.
Look at me, I wouldn't last 2 minutes out in the desert.
Hey, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Hit that bell if you want new notifications on new videos. Links for products used are in the description and on MotoCheez.com. Thanks for watching.